Okay, today we are looking at solving linear equations, and we're going to look at just at one-step linear equations and then two-step linear equations. Okay, now the ultimate aim of when it says solve a linear equation, the aim is to get the x by itself, or the pronumeral by itself. If you've got the pronumeral by itself on one side of an equal sign, all the numbers and operations on the other side of the equal sign, then you'll know what x equals, or any pronumeral. Okay, so the way we do this is we perform the inverse of any operations being done to the pronumeral. So in this case, what's being done to the x, it's being having 2 added to it. So I'll just write this out again here. And we perform on both sides. I'm going to put BS here for both sides. What we need to do to both sides is we need to do the opposite, the inverse of +2, and that is to -2. Okay, so, and we have to do it on both sides of the equation to keep it equal. Okay, so there's x + 2 - 2 equals 6 - 2. Okay, now if we go and we carry out those operations, this +2 and this -2 cancel each other out. That's why we did it. We just have x left by itself on that side. 6 - 2 equals 4. Okay, so that's that. In the first example, the operation was adding. In the second example, the operation is subtracting. Now the inverse of -6 or -6 is to add 6. So we add 6 to both sides. +6 here, +6 there. And okay, once again, we see that -6 + 6 equals 0. So that just leaves with this x, which is what we wanted. 10 plus 6 is 16. So therefore, x equals 16. Now, by the way, you can always check your answers by substituting in your proposed answer into the original question. Okay, so we think the answer is 16. We can go up here and say, okay, substitute in. 16 - 6 equals 10. Therefore, we know we're correct. Same as up here. We think the answer is 4. We can go 4 + 2 equals 6, and we know that we're correct. Okay, let's look at example 3. So we have this time the operation being performed on the pronumeral is multiplying. It's being multiplied by 3. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. So to both sides, we're going to divide by 3. Okay, now we'll do this as a fraction type setup. Divide that by 3, divide 21 by 3. These two cancel out to be 1. Okay, therefore we have x by itself again, which is what we're after. 21 divided by 3 is 7. And again, we can check 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, now the last example of 4-step equations is when we are dividing. Now the inverse of dividing is multiplying. So to both sides, we need to multiply by 5. Okay, so we'll put it times 5 up here. This time I haven't rewritten the problem, but that's okay. Times 5 there, times 5 here. Okay, now these two 5s cancel each other out, like when we work with fractions. We could also look at that as 5/1 if that makes people feel more comfortable. Okay, so this leaves x on this side. 4 times 5 is 20. I don't have the original question here anymore, but it would have been 20 divided by 5 equals 4, and we know that that's the right. Therefore, our answer is correct. Now, two-step equations, exactly the same idea as one-step equations, except you have to undo 2 operations. Now, you need to get the order that you undo them correct. That's the biggest challenge, I think. In this case, what's being done to the pronumeral? Okay, well, it's being multiplied by 2, and then it's having 4 added to it. Now, we have to undo those operations in reverse order. So the add 4 is the second thing being performed on the y, therefore it's the first operation to undo. Okay, again, so looking back at our one-step equations, we're going to inverse of plus 4 is to subtract 4. So that's what we do to both sides. Minus 4, minus 4. Okay. On the left-hand side, they cancel each other out, just like in our first example of one step. 2y equals 16 minus 4 is 12. Now we've turned our two-step equation into a one-step equation. Okay? And we can see that it is 2 times y equals 12. So this time we've got to do the inverse of multiplying by 2, which as we saw earlier was divide by 2. Okay, so we'll divide 2y by 2. We'll divide 12 by 2. Okay, and we get 2y divided by 2, just leaves y by itself, equals 6. Now again, we've sort of scrunched over the original question, but if we look at it here, we think it's 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 4 equals 16, and we know we're correct. Okay, last one. This is an actual question from the textbook, and it's got a couple of issues in it that are why I selected it. Okay, same idea. It's a two-step equation. Okay, now a couple of things. What makes this one different is that the pronumeral is on the right-hand side. Now, for some people, that makes some people very uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable about that, you can transfer the whole left-hand side and the right-hand side of the equation. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. The other issue I picked here is there's a negative coefficient of the pronumeral. So I thought pick something that will raise a couple of extra issues. Same process, though, as before. What are we going to do? Actually, I'm going to rewrite this one so we do have our original equation intact. Okay. Now, both sides, what are we going to do? Okay, we have from what's being done to the pronumeral, it's being multiplied by -3, and it's having 11 added to it. And that might look like it's a minus. There's a little plus 11 there. It's a positive 11. Okay, so we've got to get rid of this positive 11, and the way to do that is to subtract 11 from both sides. Okay, so I'm going to go to minus 11 here. I'll put this minus 11 out here. Okay, now on this side, 2 minus 11 is -9. Okay, this plus 11 and this minus 11 cancel each other out. That's why we did it, and we're left with -3x. Okay, what do we do to both sides this time? Well, this x is being multiplied by -3. The inverse of multiplying by -3 is to divide by -3. Okay, so we've got I'll put this out here. I'll just redo it. -9 divided by -3 minus 3x divided by -3. They cancel each other out. That's why we did it. And so, okay, -9 divided by -3. Well, 9 divided by 3, we know is 3. Okay, the two negatives, negative divided by negative is a positive, so this is just +3. These have cancelled each other out, and all we're left with is x. So there's our answer, x equals 3. Let's go back up to the top and see if it works. Okay, we've got 2 equals 11 minus 3 times 3, which is 9. 11 minus 9 equals 2. Okay, so we know that our answer is correct. Thank you.